It's Sunday, October 11th, 2020. This is All About Your Benjamins and your weekly mixtape and week in review video. Hope you had a great week. Let's get right to the headlines and waste no time. Not a lot to really go over, but it was a big week of a lot of things going on. First and foremost, we come out of the weekend, the beginning of this week, with President Trump leaving the hospital and going back to the White House after being diagnosed with COVID. So interesting to see how all that played out, and interesting to see how that continues to play out. But that was kind of beginning of the week. Middle of the week comes along, we've got the vice presidential debate, and we find out the next presidential debate is going to be via virtual. So it'll be interesting to see how this works, if it's going to play out on Zoom, who's the lucky one that gets to sponsor this and be the chosen software for this debate. But that'll definitely be a very interesting moment. But back to the vice presidential debate. Not a lot of talk there. You know, I'm not very political, don't like to get too far in politics. The only thing that I think is kind of funny is the big talk coming out of the debate was the fly on Vice President Pence's head. I don't know if that is a good thing or bad thing, if that is a lot of what the excitement was coming from the debate. I didn't watch it, so I can't comment too much on that, but we did have that. Then we come into the announcement that we will no longer have any negotiations about a stimulus package prior to the election from President Trump. And then next day comes out that, okay, we will piecemeal some things together. And then ultimately there was a $1.8 trillion package presented to Congress to vote on. It does not look like we're still getting anywhere as of today, so this is actually Saturday evening. Of getting that stimulus package, but conversations are still going. So we've moved away from no stimulus talks to an offer to conversations going. So we're going to continue to watch this play out, and I don't think that this will get resolved anytime soon, although I hope that it does. And then finally, I guess not finally, secondly to final, just kind of an observation. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal that talked about Microsoft letting some staff workers work from home routinely after the pandemic's over. There's been a lot of talk about, is this new work from home and remote working going to be something that stays with us once we get past COVID? And we're seeing major companies like Microsoft say that it will be a part of normal life going forward. It'll be interesting to see as time goes on if big corporations who historically have wanted to micromanage their employees and make sure that they're there from 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever it might be, are going to be willing to trust their employees to continue to be productive from home. I have mixed feelings on it only because working from home sounds great, but for those of you with kids and having to deal with the quarantine time lately, you know that's not always everything is cracked up to be. And even if the kids are away at school, there are still distractions to working at home. It's hard to work from home and see the mess that the kids left behind and not go pick it up. Or know that you need to try to do laundry as well while you're trying to work, and sometimes it becomes hard to focus on work. Another thing that I think is a little problematic is there's no boundaries anymore. So when you're working from home, how do you separate work time from home time? And actually, I was meeting with clients this week, and they talked about how they were working more than they ever had because they were working from home, and it was almost expected from one of their companies that you were working harder and more because you were home and able to. So in some ways it's good, but in other ways I think that barrier between work and home was a necessary thing for a lot of us and will be missed. As time goes on, and if we have a number of years go by without another pandemic or threat of it, it'd be interesting to see if companies go back to bringing people in. I do think there is something to be said about working together in a team environment. I think that maybe travel, business meetings and things that can be done via Zoom that don't need to be a 2 or 3 day trip, those things might go away at a greater scale. But I think that we'll still see companies, as time goes on and our memory begins to move on from this, go back to being in the office more often. But I could be wrong, so maybe this will age poorly. And then the final one, going to end this week with the stock market talk. The markets closed this week higher despite President Trump's sickness, the debates, the no stimulus talks, coming back to the stimulus talks, kind of all those news headlines. It was the best week in 3 months. I hate these best weeks in amount of time, but it has been a number of weeks where the market's been down. So it's good to see a up week given all the news as well. And that's it. Again, nothing major, nothing earth-shattering, no reason to bring in employment numbers. They're all kind of hanging out where they are. So it seems like a lot of those things are just kind of stuck, and we're not really moving forward, but also not really moving backward a lot. Coming into fall season, Flu season is going to be coming. It's going to be interesting, but we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. So with that, I will let you get to your weekend. As always, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, or make sure you subscribe to All About Your Benjamins, the blog as well. And an exciting thing, I'm bringing the podcast back. So All About Your Benjamins, the podcast will come back. It's already had its first episode. I'm calling it Season 2. So Season 1 was 50 plus episodes. We'll see what Season 2 ends up being. But Season 2 going forward is going to be still personal finance, but more of a focus on entrepreneurship, fintech, the future of investing, looking forward, and what does that mean for us investors and for our planning. So it's going to be pretty fun. Once a month will be an interview, and then if there's some good audio from other videos that I might do, that'll show up as well. But started off with Rob Petrozzo from Rally Road, a great conversation, a real cool guy, a real neat company, so check that out. Next month we're going to have Leif Abraham from Public, and then in December we're going to wrap the year up with my good friend Tyrone Ross, but he's going to be coming to talk about OnRamp, the company that he is now the CEO of. So a pretty good lineup coming up, going to be pretty cool. All futuristic, all better for investors with the technology we're going to be exploring, so I'm excited. And with that, I will finally let you go to your weekend. So have a great rest of your weekend. If you're watching this on Monday, have a great week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.